Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to this taste challenge. I have two 40% alcohol, 80 proof, non-age stated blended American whiskeys. This is Seagram's 7 Crown American blended whiskey, introduced in 1934 by the Seagrams Distilling Company, sold to Diageo 25 years ago, and still produced in the United States. Probably in Indiana, but they don't indicate that on the bottle, so it could be other sources. But got a brown bottle, brown glass bottle, which is good because it protects it from the light. This is the best-selling American blended whiskey, just like Crown Royal is the best-selling Canadian blended whiskey. Also, both started by Seagrams, interestingly, Crown Royal and Seagram 7 Crown. Crown Royal, formerly known as Seagram's Crown Royal. All right, I don't know what the 7 Crown is about. I don't know what the 8 Star is about. Maybe they're some Freemason, some kind of signpost, Masonic signpost for the insiders. Okay, anyway, Beam's 8 Star Kentucky whiskey, a blend, introduced in 1976. Trying to get it to focus. There we go. Each time I buy it, it has a different configuration. Like it changes. Like it'll have an age statement, won't have an age statement. This one does not have an age statement. This one does not have an age statement. I don't think it ever did. And they're both 75% grain neutral spirits, 25% straight whiskey of some sort, most likely bourbon, but I can't say that for sure, but that'll be the best guess. James B. Beam Distilling Company, makes sense, Beams, and Diageo, who bought the Seagram's 7 Crown rights and Crown Royal rights, the rights to the facilities and recipes 25 years ago. Okay. I don't think, price point. I don't know what Beam's 8 Star goes for a liter, honestly, but I paid $9. I was in Gretna, Louisiana on Belle Chase Highway, Louisiana Highway 23 southbound, and I stopped at a store called Star, a gas station, convenience store, mainly liquor store, but they present themselves as a gas station, convenience store, and probably for tax reasons. And they had it, and I said, "What's the price of this?" Or it might have had a tag. I think they didn't have it. They did not have a tag. And the man said, and I could see it was faded and old. Now I can see that the bottle was from 2014. He said, $9. I said, $9? I'll take it, So the Seagram's is a little darker, a little more on the brown side, heading toward copper. This one's more on the amber side, heading toward gold. So let's look at the comments for a minute. Brian Carpenter says, hi. Seagram's, cheers, Ron. I prefer doers. Well, me too. You get a bad next day with the cheaper brands. Well, I'm not drinking enough to really go into that problem. Come on, man. What is he talking about? Come on. Okay. Alex says, good evening, Ron. Cheers. Cheers to good health and happiness. Thank you. John Mallory says, taps on beer, labels out. Fellas, bottoms up. Cheers, Jay. Thank you, John. Some of the stuff I don't understand. I prefer clear liquors, vodka, gin, rum, etc., says Alex. Oh, everybody has their preferences. Nothing wrong with that. Okay. So here's the Seagram 7 Crown website. You can run in on next door, so I'm sorry for the noise. An American heritage with its smooth, sweet taste and creamy vanilla finish. Seagram approachable should be 7 crowns apostrophe s. They haven't corrected that mistake. Approachable and smooth taste profile stands up against today's biggest brands, and in its signature drink, the 7 and 7. And there's a collaboration with Schweppes 7 Up for the 7 and 7. The Crown Distilling Company, New York, New York. Well, that's an office. I don't think there's any distiller in New York City. Okay, not for this. Nose, alluring and crisp with a hint of citrus. The taste, smooth, sweet taste. Finish, creamy vanilla finish. Bottom line, find near you. Yes, the locator tool is accurate. But why would you need a locator tool since every liquor store in America sells it, right? Now here's Beam's 8-star. $9.99 for a liter. I paid 99 cents less, so that's pretty good. Mine's a little faded and unfortunately 11 years old. But that's what the current label, they've changed the label over the years, but that's the current label. Kentucky whiskey, a blend. Here's Kroger. Many Krogers do sell liquor. There's a big handle bottle. Now see, this one is showing 80% grain spirits, neutral spirits, 20% straight whiskers or more. So see, that's the current bottle. The current bottle is 80-20 blend, so less straight whiskey and aged 2 years, whereas mine is aged at least 4 years. So been cheapened. Well, obviously, this blended whiskey has a fruity bouquet with subtle hints of caramel and a warm, medium-length finish. That's coming from the distilling company. You know that Kroger is not, you know as well as I do, Kroger's not right in that. Okay, they just plug in whatever is sent to them. You can buy some begging strips. Okay, I prefer clear. Oh yeah, I already read that. Do I prefer Scotch? Do I prefer whiskey? Well, whiskey and Scotch and bourbon, they're all whiskeys. I'm not sure what you mean there. Or clear liquor. I prefer Scotch. All right. Anyway, they're all fine. I like rum, clear tequila, clear mezcal. It's fine with me. It's not my favorite, but I don't mind it, you know. Yeah. Smells creamy, like they said, kind of like a cream, but doesn't contain cream. It's not a cream liqueur. This one's more sour. Could it be a sour mash straight whiskey in there? It's probably a combination of straight whiskeys, and a combination might just be 1 grain neutral spirit. But a lot of these are like a blend of different straight whiskeys and grain whiskey, just like Scotch. But all the whiskeys in Scotch have to be aged at least 3 years, whereas in the United States, you can add unaged grain distillate up to 80%. Now, that sounds like cheating, but it's allowed, and that's just I don't make the rules. Have you compared Beam's 8-star to regular Jim Beam? Says Tom. Just curious how they would compare. No, I don't cross style. Like I don't cross style like straight bourbon with blended whiskey, because I don't think you're going to mix. They're too different, you know. I don't think I'd ever mix them up. I would prefer Jim Beam, although Jim Beam's kind of bland itself. So I don't do cross style. Sorry. And I see other people doing it, and they're like, "Wow, this Crown Royal tastes nothing like this Ardbeg 10." I'm like, "Well, that's because that one's a straight Isla. I mean, a single malt Isla Scotch, and that one's a Canadian blended whiskey. So why would they taste the same? They only have the same proof or aging. Some challenges are baffling because A, they're not challenging and they're nonsensical. Like taste challenging a banana and a strawberry. Yeah, they're both fruit, but you're never going to mix them up. So why even do it blind? Because obviously there's no point to it. Okay. Yep, that makes sense. Okay, so this does have that creamy nature to it. But like I said, there's no cream. It's got oak, like mild vanilla oak. It tastes really good, so it must be the Seagram 7 Crown. The king of American blended whiskey. Although, on the other hand, this one's pretty good too, although I'm getting a little bit of corn flour in it. It tastes like corn flour. I don't know how to explain that. I'm not frying any fish today, but they're both medium bodied, low medium, like heading toward light. So if you like light whiskey, and a dry finish. Yo, Ron. Hello, Butch Willie. So if you can get Beam's H-Star for $9.99 a liter, and you got to pay $14.99 for Seagram 7 Crown $7.50, you might want to do a trade-off. Maybe you're getting a little less of a product, but you're saving a good deal of money. So you would say Crown over Seagram's. Oh, Crown Royal. Well, of course, that's a Canadian blended whiskey. And they have to have 3 years aging on all the components. You know, an American blended whiskey doesn't even have to be aged but 2 years. You say 2 years. Yeah, 2 long years. Canadian whiskey has to be a year longer. So they're comparable in some ways, and they're not comparable in many other ways. Especially with the aging situation. The aging issue is the issue, really. Especially that you could add up to 80% unaged grain spirits in American blended whiskey, up to 80%. Which in Canadian blended whiskey, you can have not even 0%. You know what I mean? Not even 1% unaged spirits in it. So I got to take another sip. I'm not quite sure. This one's a lot more challenging than I had first believed. I thought it was going to be a wipeout. To tell you the truth, I thought really that Seagram 7 Crown was just going to decimate Beam's H-Star. This was my thinking. But you say, yeah, but Jim Beam, they've been around since 1795. They're not amateurs. That's true. They're older than Seagram. So, well, that's the whole point of doing the blind taste test. It's so you can clear up any misconceptions, because you might think you know, you might be convinced that you know, but until you do the blind taste test, you don't really know. You definitely don't know. Now, I'm finding out. Like John Lennon said, I found out. But still, I prefer this creamy. It's more sugary and creamy, like a sugar cream, which I don't really want sugar cream unless I was eating maybe a confectionery, a bakery, a pastry type product. But it just tastes a little better, but not way better. Not way better. I don't think I would pay the upcharge. I'm serious. I don't think I would pay the upcharge. Not in this battle. Now, in most of the battles I do with American blended whiskeys versus Seagrams, they don't stand a chance. They just get wiped out. Boom. It's like in 1 or 2 minutes, it's over. Boom, boom. But this one's a little difficult. And but like I say, it might be the beam ability, the ability of the distillery to put out quality products even on the low, and we're talking right here, very low end. Um, but I'm saying this is Seagrams. It is. So I got it. Like I predicted, I said I would get it right, but I didn't say it would be difficult, did I? I said it was going to be a snap with no effort, but it was an effort. Um, I'd have to imagine the right star is used in old gin barrels. 8 star, you mean? It makes you wonder how old the barrels are. It could be at barrels. Yeah. Well, see the thing about it, they're not aging it. This is what you got to understand. They're taking unaged grain distillate. They skip the last stage, which is aging. They distill it. You say, oh, that's like moonshine. It's clear. It has no color. Correct. They add water to bring it down to 80 proof. They blend it with a 20%, so it's 4-to-1. Oh, I'm sorry, 3-to-1. What am I saying? Oh well, 4-to-1 now in the current setup. So today's Beams 8 star is 4 parts unaged distillate and 1 part straight whiskey, which is probably just regular old Jim Beam, but Jim Beam that was only aged 2 years. So they're probably taking, this is my theory, I have no proof at all. They're probably taking Jim Beam, and there's hundreds and hundreds of barrels each year, and they test them. They go around and taste them as they age, and they might pick some that are like maybe after 2 years not turning out so nice. This is a theory, like I said. They're like, man, this is it ain't gonna make the cut for Jim Beam. It is Jim Beam, but it ain't gonna make the cut. So what they're gonna do? Dump it down the drain? I don't think so. They just pull it once it hits 2 years. They might have tasted it at 2 years. They blend it with the 4 parts grain neutral spirits. They bottle it, and then voila, there's Beam's 8 star. Not the best tasting stuff, but then why would it be? It's $9.99 a liter. Makes sense, right? Then you're not wasting product. Ain't nobody buying it anyway, so they could sit down and by the fireplace and say, oh, the amazing allure of the components. They're not doing that. My main man. Yep, I'm back. Okay, yep, Ozzy Osbourne. Like the rest of us, he moved to the next stage. Okay, like Brian Wilson, another person, rock and roll persona from born in the 1960s. So Beam's 8 star for what it is. And are there people who are fans of American blended whiskey? Yes, there are. Millions in the United States. It's worth trying if you like the style. Now, if you hate the style, why would you try any of them, right? I don't have a problem with the style, honestly. I think some of them are pretty interesting. Some are pretty grim, not good, not too good. But like I say, Seagram 7 Crown is a little bit better, but the price, it's like you're getting this much more quality, but you're paying this much more. So see what I'm saying? You're getting this much more quality, but you're paying this much more. So I don't know if you feel comfortable doing that. So with Beams 8-star, you can pay a lot less, and you're not really it's on the other side. You're not really losing that much. You're losing a little bit. Now, you say, well, what about the current 80/20 blend? Age only 2 years. Yeah, that probably would be a little harder to justify. I've got an older bottle, 11 years old, so it's holding up better. So I can't. The current one could be a little sketchy. Which actually had the current one, but my bottle's gone. I only had a 750 milliliter. Okay, let's look at the last comments. I've heard that. I heard theories from you about Old Crow just being a 3-year-old Jim Beam. No, that's not my theory. I was just repeating what people told me. They telling me like it's a fact. And I said, yeah, it could be true, but they got no official information on that, just people talking. I said, where'd you hear this? Oh, I read it on a blog. I said, you read it on a blog? Okay. Did you hear it from the company, Beam Distilling? No, this guy got a YouTube channel or whatever. Okay, that's not actually official information. That's somebody talking. What is his source? Well, his source was his uncle was in the industry. Oh, his uncle was in the industry. What's his uncle's name? Oh, he didn't want to say. Oh, I see. Where did he work in the industry? We don't know. So see what I mean? So let's say that could be possible, and on the other hand, it may not be true at all. You know, it could just be a fantasy and that people entertain. I could see that. It would make sense. I mean, it's plausible and it does make sense, and I would believe it. But it might be its own recipe, you see. What time is regular beer Wednesday? Well, we're not doing regular beer Wednesday tonight. We're doing strong beer Wednesday. Strong beer Wednesday. 5.5 or above. So the weakest beer you can bring is a 5.5er. That'd be the weakest strong beer. Still strong though. You drink a bunch of 5.5s, you'll find out if it's not strong. Right, an antidote. I know what you're saying. Can't say that word. Anecdote. So to speak anecdotally, but people will take that as verbatim. You know, they'll take it like that's a fact. That's a fact. Well, you don't know that. It's a probability, and I would say a reasonably good probability, but it's not going to convince a jury. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of reasonable doubt that could be brought into that scenario. Okay, anyway, if somebody in this world could show me definitively that Old Crow is simply a 3-year-old Jim Beam, bring it on. I'd love to see it, but I need to see real evidence, not because you read it on a blog. All right, or you watched a video from somebody. That's not actually official information, but you should know that. All right, anyway, thanks for watching, and see y'all in about an hour, less than an hour, 54 minutes. Let's see. I think that's right, for Strong Beer Wednesday. Scientists could figure it out. Maybe they could. All right, y'all take care. Bye-bye.